Come on. There we go. All right. Hey, everybody. And hello.
Hello.
Hello, Miss Allison.
Hi,
How are
Heather.
you?
So better now.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh my goodness. So we're exploring the world of the Access Consciousness X-Men. And I'm going to be doing a bunch of these different conversations with a bunch of crazy motherfuckers. And Allison's the premier, shall
Guinea
we say,
pig.
the guinea pig. And there's this body of work in Access Consciousness called X-Men, and I've been facilitating it for a long time. And Allison is going to be facilitating a class coming up soon with Gary Douglas, who is the founder of Access Consciousness, and Rachel O'Brien and Arthur Wood. And there's like an X-Men revival going on, right? Like there's this like new life being breathed into this work and these classes and these conversations. And I'm so excited because X-Men is there's just not a single X-Men that is like anybody else. There's not a single X-Men class that has anything to do with any other X-Men class, you know. It's about difference. It's about celebrating difference. So, Allison, what is an X-Men?
Well, it's been such a fun journey. I took the Access X-Men class a long time ago and I thought it was amazing. And I think everything just went over my head because, it was like, oh, that's really interesting. When you open the manual or read the You Wouldn't Teach a Fish to Climb a Tree book,
Mm.
um, it's about people who are labeled ADD, ADHD, autism, OCD, dyslexic, and all kinds of like basically anything that you've been taught or told is a limitation or that you put a label on, basically a handicap. But really, what the Access X-Men thing starts to unlock and unfold is the gift and the superpowers that each and every one of those people, you people have, that you don't even know that you
Yeah.
have or be. And so that's just been so fun exploring that about myself, which I, didn't know for a very long time and still probably have no clue, but also just starting to talk to more people who, I don't know, like have been labeled, one of these things or have not, but are like, wow, that's why I feel so contracted, around people or in certain situations, or I do this thing. And really, finding out that it's more about awareness and abilities and capacities that are, like you said, completely different than anybody else has.
Yeah, yeah. I remember when I first like I never considered that I was an X-Men. I've shared this story many times over the years because Gary Douglas asked me in a class, "Have you acknowledged the difference that you be?" And I was like,
Okay.
like, who are you talking to? I was like, I am normal, okay? Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know if you guys know Heather Nichols like in person, but that's hilarious.
You know, I was trying to be more normal at the time. This was
Yeah.
probably like 12 years ago, you know, so it was
I
a
think I
long time
remember.
ago.
Yes.
So I was like, wow, what are you talking about? You know, but it was this really beautiful question and invitation to explore that. And I mean, the very first conversation I had about me possibly being an X-Men, because I thought it was, you know, kids that had been diagnosed with ADD, ADHD, OCD, and autism. And I was like, well, none of those apply to me, you
Me
know?
too. I'm like, well, I'm not a kid, so
Exactly.
next.
Except, hello, have you met you?
Just a giant kid, actually, come to find out.
So good. Yeah. But I will never forget that first conversation where I was just like, Oh my God. Like it's so many things started to really make sense to me of how I function. That is, I didn't know that other people didn't function like that.
Right.
And it is so much about acknowledging the massive awareness that we have, and that shows up in so many different ways for so many different people. And I love exploring like the nuances of that and just where, you know, what's true for each person that shows up for these conversations. It's so cool.
Totally. Oh my God. And the awareness of, I just talked to Gary the other day and he's like, I was gonna save this for class, but well, maybe I was gonna save it for now. He's like, X-Men have the capacity, unlike anybody else on the planet, to receive or to have capacities, not just in one area of life, but all areas of life. Like more so than many other people trying to be normal. So basically, like how many areas of life, of all the areas of life, are you good at, okay at, and definitely avoid all those other ones? Or like money, or it's like, yeah, like how many places are you being the limitation of your superpowers where you could uncover this huge capacity to receive unlike anybody else on the planet, which is what I'm so excited about with this body of work or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so cool because you like it for me, like I feel like each class and conversation is like taking something that somebody is absolutely positive is completely fucked up about themselves and like flipping it on its head, and just being like, well, if we look, because your point of view creates your reality. So if you're like, I'm shit with money, it's like, okay, well, then I guess you are, but if you're like, what if I'm different with money? Now
And
let's turn that 180 degrees or whatever a
yeah.
million times, put it in the dryer and spin it all the ways. Then it's like, oh, wait a minute. Okay, so what's right about you that you're not getting? What's right about this that you're not getting? What is the capacity here? And that's one of the things that X-Men are actually brilliant at, is being the question. And when we can be the question about ourselves and each other, it's like you shine this beautiful light of awareness and curiosity on something that allows it to really, it allows you to see it with a completely different perspective, and then you get to receive it. You get to receive you as, and the gifts that it is, and use it to outcreate.
Totally. Oh my gosh. Like, and I love what you said about like, I don't know the exact words, but something like you're going to do it your way. And like, have you ever had anyone ask you to do it your way? Like money, like what is your way? You're told all the ways that you're supposed to do it, sort of. And that's impossible to figure out. And what if it's not your way at all?
Yeah.
Or yeah, like every single person has every single person, every single X-Men has like their own way of doing things that they have yet to discover. And, that's how really cool things get invented. I know Liam Bramley is one of our friends who works on stuff at the resort in Costa Rica, El Lugar. And he is basically like inventing all of these brand new, never done before ways to do heating, electricity, what else? Water,
Yeah.
like it's like, and also,
Yeah.
you know, with that, El Lugar itself is like an X-Men. It's like in that place alone, Gary had them put pylons on instead of just like destroying the land and doing it the normal way. They didn't stop until they figured out a way that was going to contribute to the earth and work with the earth. The buildings are going
Yeah.
to work with the earth. So it's like, what if you have all of these untapped superpowers or ideas or ways that you would do it that are actually a contribution to everybody else and anybody else?
I love that.
I love it too. It's so cool. And the number
So
one thought I just want to say that you're probably thinking about yourself, especially if you're an X-Men or someone with this stuff, is, well, that definitely couldn't be me.
Oh man, it's so true. It's so true. And that's the cool thing about X-Men classes is being in this space where everybody's exploring that, and like the whole class is about the exploration of that. And it's like these classes for me are like they're like the fastest that I see people get out of judgment of themselves, like in
Totally.
2 days or 3 days or whatever, it's like just watching people just their whole world like turns around, they melt, and then they're like, wait a minute, I'm not nearly as fucked up as I thought I was, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Oh my gosh,
So
it's
cool.
amazing. And I've been listening a lot to the old classes, like 2004 on access.me. Here's a commercial. Go get access.me because it's amazing. Oh my God. Um, but like like the coolest information about all of these things, autism, OCD, blah blah blah, but almost kind of like a sci-fi, like actual X-Men exploration of all of these things that they've gone through over the years and explored about um, X-Men, and you get to hear the very first sessions that Gary and Dane did with X-Men kids. You know, this one kid who was dubbed with autism, but really no one was communicating with him in the way that he could communicate. And so
Yeah.
just exploring like how many people actually communicate with you in a way that you communicate, and what if you could start to we could start to learn from each other. And I love that about these classes is the way that it empowers you to be able to be more present with others and figure out, quote unquote, basically figure out how they're communicating with you. Like, how does a tree communicate with you? And also, start to express yourself in a completely different way. I know when I was a kid, I'm like, God, I really wasn't, an X-Men this whole time. When I was a kid, it's just so funny looking at all these things. I think right when you had messaged to do this live, I was like, I was just thinking about you, Heather. I was just thinking about my whole childhood and like, wow.
It was so cool. You were like basically like I was just having a conversation with you in my head and
Was
I
having a
texted you
podcast with you.
and I'm like, yeah, well, we're gonna have a podcast today. So
But I just remember like not really being able to talk, except I spoke in movie quotes all the time. Like
that's awesome.
Jurassic Park, like I took quotes from all of my favorite movies and I turned that into my vocabulary because I didn't really get what to say all the time, which is super common with X-Men who are aware of like so many realities that to put it into words of everything you're aware of is almost impossible, which is why a lot of X-Men don't talk for a
Yeah.
while. Or, I have friends whose kids didn't talk till they like at the appropriate time or till they were 4 or longer or never, but they're communicating and speaking in a completely different way that
Yeah.
we get to receive. And like, if you've grown up talking out loud, wouldn't it be cool if you could learn how to talk in your head, like telecommunication? Is that what telepathically?
Telepathically. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah. Yeah, and acknowledging that actually goes on all the time, even when we don't know that it's going on.
Yeah.
Like I love that about even our little banter today on the text. I was like, oh yeah, we were having a conversation. What were we talking about? And it's like, um, and just it's fun to have other people in your life that are also X-Men that know themselves, whatever that is. To know yourself as an X-Men is just a ongoing exploration,
Yeah.
but to acknowledge like that the language of X-Men, it really is energy, and there's such a speed and a space and a like just such a different way of functioning, that when you are around people who acknowledge that they are different and that you are different and that you are, it's so much fun.
So fun. Yes. And I love that, like you're saying, the more people you're around, what would it take to have more people that know this? And so, when you were communicating, you didn't even have to understand
Yeah.
anything. It was
Yeah.
like more of a being, or whatever it's going to be for you. Who knows?
Yeah.
There was a kid, my new favorite thing, and you guys can try this at home because it's my new favorite thing. So you should try it out. But, I've been starting to notice other people who are X-Men, maybe like they look a little shy, or like, like scared of the world or whatever.
Mhm.
And my new favorite thing is just to acknowledge those people without saying a word. They're walking by with their dog, or I just happened in the elevator with someone that lives in my building, and I could tell he was like, oh, like aware of so much stuff, and he just wanted to kind of do his thing. But I started talking into his head first, with my head to his head. I was like, what's your superpower? And I've done this with multiple people, and I don't think they would have talked to me. I think they would have ran away had I not started talking to them in their head first. And so I just said, what's your superpower? And I kind of started to guess in my head. I'm like, is it singing? No. Art? No. I'm like, what is that? I kind of am seeing. And I was like, he's like, how are you? What floor? This floor. And I was like, just back from work? He's like, yeah. I'm like, what do you do? He's like, I design, I don't remember the exact thing, but basically he designs and helps create all the roads in Denver. I'm like, whoa, that would take not a normal person. I'm like, just the download of
That's a superpower.
And he got so excited, because I was like, oh my God, Jesus, that's in Denver? He's like, yeah. I'm like, wow. I'm like, thank you so much for doing that. Like, I appreciate that, because that is probably a really hard job. And I drive around here, so I know. And he was just dying laughing, and his barriers just came down. And he looked back at me as I'm walking out of the elevator, like, what just happened? I'm like, it was just such a fun engagement.
So cool.
Yeah.
I love it. Oh, man.
Hide your everything. Like, what if we could start to expand it, pull it out, receive it?
Yeah.
And
like invite the X-Men to like come out of hiding, the X-Men of the world. It's like, yeah, I mean, just
totally.
So take over the world. Let's take over the world.
Let's do it.
With laughter and joy and psychic communication,
drooling and
irreverence. And
yes. Please. I'm like, how am I supposed to react to most people? I don't know.
Oh my God. Oh, that is I mean, I remember like trying to figure out how to relate to people as a kid, just being like, what's allowed and what isn't on this planet? I don't really know. I'm gonna have to learn this from the judgy McJudgersons.
Totally. No, who knows what I think I just maybe learned smiling was the correct thing to do, like right off the bat, and then I just did it for everything. So-and-so died.
And then
yeah.
And then it's, yeah, exactly. Then you're like, oh, I'm probably not supposed to smile there. Okay, never mind. Dang. Well, let me just pretend like that didn't happen.
Totally.
So good. Awesome. Well, thank you, Alison. I'm so looking forward to this class. It's going to be freaking fun and dynamic, and there's going to be tons of these conversations coming down the pike leading up to it. And hey, maybe even beyond too. The class is February 7th. Is that correct?
7th, okay. Or around there. Just go to consciousness.com and look up the X-Men.
X-Men. Yeah, it's there. Yeah. And we can put it in, wherever we post this.
We'll
all the places. Yeah. So thanks everybody.
Thanks everybody.
Thank you. Bye.